Welcome to the Friday Main Event Class 6A Region Preview Show. This is our sixth of five classifications that we've covered, Lee Teat. 3 videos each class. This will be video number 1 in our 6A edition. And Lee, we were talking about this is our second year doing the YouTube channel. We did radio prior to that. I personally enjoy YouTube, I think, more. But the downside is that we're in front of a camera instead of just being with a headset. So, unfortunately for you guys, you have to see us in addition to hearing us. But overlook that. The fact that you're going to get some good quality content, I think, is what makes this show good. And Lee and I will be covering regions 1 through 4, the east side of the state, in this video. And, of course, we'll have a second video covering regions 5 through 8, and then yet a third video where we'll do our Class 6A Top 10. Kind of breaks it up for you guys. That way you're not in one sitting watching so much of Lee and I, so that kind of breaks it up for you. Plus you get the option to only view the part of the state coverage that interests you the most. Right. So it's a lot of good things. And what you are going to see in this video, Lee Teat, and in previous videos like 1A, 2A, it's not abnormal to see 7, 8, 9 returning starters on both sides of the ball, but the higher you get up in classification, the less you see of that. And the reason I think it is, Lee, is because typically your starting lineup in the 6A level is going to be mostly seniors.
Yeah, juniors and seniors.
The underclassmen, they have to be a really special player, to get on the field at this classification. So for that reason, you don't see a lot of returning starters. So when we put a team high up in our rankings that's only got 4 or 5 starters back on one side of the ball, you got to understand those underclassmen probably would have been starting 2 or 3 years if they were at a lower or close classification.
Exactly.
So
one thing that interests me, too, about this 6A this year, they got 12 new coaches.
12, and I think that's a high number for this high class, don't you?
It is.
Typically, you won't see as much turnover at the 6A level because once you achieve that pinnacle, that playing at the top division, unless you're forced into it, you don't really opt out of that. But 12 new coaches. Lee, the first region we'll talk about, they have 1 new coach, and that's Region 1. 7 teams, 1 new coach. That region was won by Farragut last year. Eddie Courtney's team, 5-1 in region play, 11-2 overall. They've got 5 starters back on offense, 4 on defense. I guess Gavin Wilkinson, the senior quarterback, 1,834 yards, 16 TDs, probably the headliner on this team headed into this season.
I would think so, and I think Coach Courtney's 172-95 there at Farragut. I see more of the same out of them this year. I think they're going to be very, very competitive in the region. Probably one of the top 2 teams in my opinion. Man, I tell you what, they got good football going on up in that area.
Yeah, I agree, Lee. They do have one preseason All-State member, Daniel Bethel, the place kicker, his junior. He is the Murphy Fair preseason All-State.
Right.
Those guys, they've got non-region competition. It's going to be pretty tough, Lee. Bradley Central, West, they travel to Oak Ridge, and then they've got Maryville, so an extremely tough non-region schedule this year for Farragut.
I think so, too. And the one thing that from Farragut that they're going to have to try to figure out who they're going to replace Kyle Carter with. Carter had 1,500 yards rushing last year and 23 touchdowns. That's a big part of your offense, and especially at the 6A level, that's quite a few yards and a ton of touchdowns. Be interested to see who they replace him with, and can they get that run game rolling.
Yeah, Lee, and in this region, if you'll remember, there were 3 teams that tied at 4-2 in region play. I think Stacey Carter's Science Hill squad, by beating Hardin Valley and Bearden heads up, they were able to secure that second spot. I really like what he's got coming back this year. Chris Thomas, the running back, he's preseason All-State. He had 1,685 yards rushing, 18 TDs as a junior, Lee. Lot of talent. They got Solomon Dunn back. He's listed as a quarterback, but they also have A.J. Stewart, who quarterbacked last year. So I don't know if there's a little quarterback controversy or what's going on, but I think Solomon at 6'3", 180, probably going to be catching the ball more than throwing it, wouldn't you?
I think so. He's they got him as a wide receiver / quarterback. I see him, maybe a dual threat when he gets into the backfield, but I think they'll probably put him out wide.
And then you got Malik Bowman returns at running back, Kobe Torbett. I really like this Science Hill team as far as what they got coming back. And, of course, Farragut only beat them by 2 points last year. So I think these two teams right here, in all likelihood, are going to be battling out for this Region 1 title.
I think you're right. It could be either one. Right now, since Farragut took it last year, I'd give Farragut the edge. But Stacey Carter's Hilltoppers, man, they're going to push this year.
Yeah, I think so too, Lee. Hardin Valley finished third in this region last season, 6-5. Again, they were 4-2 as well in region play. Mike Potter takes over. He was the defensive coordinator the last 4 years there for the Hawks. They do run that spread. He takes over for Wes Jones. They were knocked out by Ottawa in the first round, if you'll remember last year, 35-28. Good game against a solid Ottawa team.
That's exactly right. I was, I was really surprised at how close they played Ottawa. I had Ottawa favored to win that pretty big, so Hardin Valley showed a lot right there.
Yeah, and they've got they had a tough non-region schedule last year. They had losses to Oak Ridge, 5A champion Knox Central, and then they added Cleveland this year. So, real tough, another really tough non-region schedule for this team here.
That's right.
Moving on down, Lee, in that region, another team that finished 4-2 was Bearden, Morgan Schindler's team. They've got 2 returning starters on offense, 5 on defense. They've got Colin Ironside at quarterback, 6'2", 195, good-looking football player. Gavin Campbell, Kenneth Parker Smith at wide receiver. So Bearden's they don't have a lot of numbers back, but they got some quality players coming back.
I think so too. And Coach Schindler's 25-29 in 5 years there at Bearden. I don't know, Mike. Where do you have them? Where do you think?
Well, I don't know.
They slip a little.
I think they do. They've got West, Maryville, Bradley Central, McMinn County, a really solid, really tough non-region schedule, Lee. I think they possibly slip a spot, and the reason why I say that is Dobbins Bennett, a team that missed the playoffs last year, Lee. First time I think I read in 33 years that they've missed the playoffs, and Joey Christian is his first year there. He was a 15-year assistant under Graham Clark. Really tough shoes to follow there,
big shoes.
or to fill there. And but they got Cade Moppin back, wide receiver, Jet Harris, Philip Armitage. I don't know. They may slip ahead of Bearden. What's your thoughts?
I kind of like Dobbins Bennett to get into the playoffs this year. I don't think Coach Christian's going to miss again. I think a first-year coach, anytime you're coming in, especially like you said, following up Coach Clark, that's a huge shoes to fill. But I think Coach Christian's got his feet on the ground now, and I think Dobbins Bennett will get into the playoffs.
Well, he's been around that program a long time. I'm sure. I would think anyway. He learned a few things. I mean, he's never been in that position.
Sure.
Learned a few things last year. Now they've got a pretty tough non-region schedule with Tennessee, Oak Ridge, Daniel Boone, 3 teams that we felt 5A Region 1 were going to be competing for that title with Crockett. And then they've got Alcoa. They got to travel to Alcoa. I don't look for them to pick up much help there in the non-region schedule as far as the overhaul schedule. I mean, they may pick up a win or two there. I see Boone and Tennessee as possible teams they may beat, but I don't think they beat Alcoa, and I don't think they beat Oak Ridge.
Yeah, I agree with you on that.
Lee, the Morristown West, another team in that region, 3-7 last year, 1-5. They've got a lot of kids back, 7 on offense, 5 on defense.
Right. Yeah, and I'll tell you what, man, they're pretty senior heavy up front on the offensive line, and I always like that. Coach Sanders, took over for Lamar Brown. That's some big shoes to fill right there.
All right. At Knoxville West now.
But I think they pick up some wins this year because they're out of region play. I think they'll pick up some more wins, but I just don't know if they can slip into that 3 or 4 spot. I don't see any room for movement for them.
It's going to be tough. I agree, Lee. Last team is Jefferson County Spencer Riley's squad. 4-6 last year, was not able to win a region game. 6 starters back on offense, 5 on defense. Tanner Atkins at quarterback. And they've got Dominique Schroeder back, cornerback. He's a junior, real high on him, along with Wesley Hickle on the offensive line, another junior. So that junior class and a couple of sophomores sprinkled in that starting lineup. So you got to like the future for Jefferson County.
You do. People in Jefferson County, man, they're always going to be looking at the Todd Collins days. That guy was a Gatorade Player of the Year one year in the nation. Went on to play for ironically, the Patriots, New England Patriots. Right. I think they're, looking for that. I think Coach Riley knows what he's doing. He's just in a difficult spot right now. But a big test for them is going to be Anderson County, I think.
Yeah,
out of region.
I was looking at that non-region schedule. They've got West, Morristown, East Sevier County in addition to Anderson County. Yeah. But I don't know how good Anderson County is going to be this year. We talked about Stanton Martin graduated. They've got a pretty good squad coming back, but I gotta think Coach Riley likes his odds better now that Stanton Martin's not there. So.
Yeah, but I still think Anderson County's a pretty quality opponent.
Oh yeah, I agree with you on that. All right, Lee Teat, let's move on down to Region 2. Region 2, Oakland shut out Maryville in the semifinals. I think that was the first shutout for Maryville in 332 games dating back to the second round against Smyrna in 1995. That's a pretty amazing stat.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, so Maryville folks, they're not used to losing, but getting shut out, that was probably the shocker, I think, of the season last year. And then that maybe that was a shocker up until the title game when Oakland shut out Whitehaven. So,
right.
Dominated by Oakland last year. But Maryville did win the first meeting with Oakland. And Maryville defeated their region opponent lead by 36 points. So it's been, I don't know the exact stat, but it's been, 20 years since they've lost a region game, something to that effect.
Yeah.
What do you think Derek Hunt does this year?
Continues right on trucking just like he always has. He's 26-3 in 2 years, man.
That's a pretty good stat, isn't it?
Yeah, I take that. The semifinal loss to Oakland, that stung a little bit, but hey, he's got T. Hodge, the UT commit, A.J. Davis, preseason All-Stater, Zach Braden, linebacker, D.J. Burks, strong safety, Carolina commit, Mason Shelton, Ashton Maples.
He's a good-looking kid.
Yes, sir. Liberty commit. I mean, he's loaded with talent. He's got Seth Orrin there.
I like Seth Orrin. That kid can bring the wood, man.
That's right.
He likes to hit.
And then also Cade Chambers, coming back.
Split time at quarterback last
That's
year.
That's right. So, hey, Coach Hunt's loaded to the gills again with talent. I don't see any let up. I think Maryville wins this region again. And I fully expect them to be probably competing with Oakland again.
I do too. They've got Bearden as a non-region opponent, Alcoa. They traveled to Alcoa this year, who got them last year. First time in several years. They're at Farragut, and they have Fulton. So pretty tough non-region schedule as they typically have.
Right.
Moving on down, Lee, Ooltewah finished second in this division, and what a job Scott Chandler did in his first year there at Ooltewah. I was really impressed with him. 9-3, 5-1 in region play. They got defeated by Farragut 49-14 there in the second round, but still a great year for the Owls.
I think so. Coach Chandler, man, coached for Bill Snyder, who was at Kansas State for years, and then Bob Stoops at the college level. And I'm sure that he picked up a lot from those guys, and it showed last year, them going 9-3, 5-1 in the region. I don't read in. A lot of people read into that beat Bradley by 1 and McMinn by 3. They kind of read into that. Maybe they played above their head a little bit, but I don't think so. I think what happens is when you win those close games like that, it builds you, it tests your mettle a little bit. I think when you get into a tight ball game, it helps you. But now, of course, they were blanked by Maryville, man, 42-0.
Only 5 starters back on offense, 2 on defense. They've got Christian Benet back, another offensive lineman, along with Trey Johnson, 2 big fellas up front. I like the fact that they're pretty solid up front.
Correct.
They're going to have to find some skill position players, I think, Lee, and a lot of defense to replace.
That's right.
But I like Ooltewah. I agree with you on that. Their non-region games are Davy Crockett, Red Bank, Saudi Daisy, a team we think is going to be really good, and then Coach Pemberton's Ray County squad travels to Ooltewah. So pretty difficult non-region schedule. I think I don't know. I think they may drop a little bit in this region.
Think so?
I think they might. It's a pretty tough region, man.
It is.
I really like the Bears of Bradley Central. Their only loss to Maryville was that 1 point loss to Ooltewah. Besides the loss to Maryville,
Right.
I think they played Maryville the closest. But 7-4 last year, 4-2, and I think Damon Floyd's squad with 8 starters back on offense. I think they're in a good position here in this region.
I think so too, with Trey Curry, and then Ricky McCleary coming back. And then they got Sailor Clark out wide, so they got some real good experience out wide and real good experience at the tailback spot. Just going to be a matter of can you get them the ball. And they are senior heavy up front.
And that's what I was going to say. Got a lot of linemen back, which is always a good thing.
That's right.
Farragut, Walker Valley, Bearden, and at Saudi Daisy non-region. I think I like them actually to win all their non-region games.
I think so too.
And then if they can run through this region, I don't think they beat Maryville, but if they run through this region, potentially 9-1. What do you think about that?
It's possible. It's possible.
You don't sound too confident with that.
I might go 8-2.
8-2. You think they're gonna pick up a non-region loss, or you think Ooltewah's gonna get them?
I don't know, buddy. It's hard for me to. I'm anxious to see what this next team does.
And by next team, you would be talking about
Cleveland.
And that's our good buddy Marty Wheeler coming over from Covington. He's a 99-55 overall. He was 85-39 in 10 years at Covington. Led them to back-to-back title appearances.
That's right.
Probably came as close to knocking Alcoa off as anybody. Oh, I know he did last year.
Probably put the best game plan I've seen together last year to contain Alcoa.
Mm-hmm.
Coach Wheeler, I think that was a good hire for Cleveland.
I do too.
Cleveland, was they were a perennial power for so long. I think they're going to give him what tools he needs, the facilities he needs. There's no shortage of athletes down there. I think they just got to be patient with Coach Wheeler, but I think you're going to see a better product.
And you'll remember he told us in the spring, Lee, this was only one of maybe 2 or 3 jobs that he would have left Covington for, and the reason being when he first got into coaching, he applied for a job at Cleveland, and and they kind of laughed at him.
That's right.
So that was kind of a goal of his to get back to Cleveland, and with an opportunity to prove himself as a head coach.
Right.
And I agree with you. He's a good hire. He's got 6 starters back on offense, 3 on defense. Robert Flowers, wide receiver. Is Gage Kinsey a returning starter? I'm not sure. He's listed as a quarterback junior, along with Blaine Lowe, who's an incoming freshman at quarterback. The fact that Donovan Stewart's got him listed as a freshman quarterback as a player, to watch, that kind of makes me wonder a little bit. Would Coach Wheeler in his first season here at Cleveland look to develop talent this quick?
Maybe so, because he does have several seniors up front.
Mm-hmm.
And if you got that, you don't have to put as much pressure on a quarterback to perform,
mm-hmm.
To make plays a lot of times, but you can teach him. Be interesting to see what he does here, man. You know what game interests me? Because it's right down the road here. Cleveland at Shelbyville.
I would like to go to that one. I don't know if it's going to work out. I was thinking there was another game that week that we had in mind. But, that would be a good one, no doubt. They've got Knox Central. That's going to be a tough one. They travel to Saudi Daisy. That's going to be a tough one. And I think Hardin Valley is a pretty good team. So, no easy games in the non-region schedule. I think probably they're a year away.
I do too, but I think later in the year, once they get rolling, developing, I don't know, man. I'm anxious to see how they do.
I think this is a team, like you just said, that you're not going to want to face in week 8, 9, or 10.
Don't sleep on them.
Don't sleep on them, right. So we like Cleveland. I think they're going to do well. I think they're going to improve. Maybe a year away from challenging the Bradley Centrals and the Maryvilles of the region.
Yeah, I think so.
William Blunt is 3-7, 2-4. Our buddy Coach Philip Shadowins, as we say it, some say Shadowins, He's told me personally it's shadowing, so that's what I'm going to go with.
Right.
Incredible career here in Middle Tennessee. Coached at Smyrna and won state titles. Coached at Blackman. Coached at Middle Tennessee Christian. The guy can flat out coach. Really good coach. Hasn't had the success I think that he expected to have, Lee, there at William Blount. But I mean, when you look at the other teams that are in that county, with Maryville, Alcoa, Greenback, I think you're probably in a struggle to get talent there.
You are, I think so. And, he does have some talent coming back with Trey Clemmer, the junior quarterback, and then Braden Pierce, senior tackle that he has. But, man, that's a tough road right there. This region is very tough. That was even speaking of Coach Wheeler earlier, he jumped right out of the frying pan into the fire, man.
Yeah, he did.
But that's what you go to this for.
Right.
That's why you go there.
We give him a hard time. There's something rubbing, man. That's about to drive me crazy. I think it's your mic. There we go. Yeah, we kind of gave him a hard time. He left probably one of the best, if not the best team in the state, competing against Alcoa every year. He goes into a region with Maryville, who's the other team that a lot of people have tabbed as the
perennial.
Definitely the best. I think the best program in the last 20 years, Maryville, hands down.
Yes, sir.
So, we give him a hard time about that. But, Coach Shadowins is in a tough situation there, man. He's got 5 starters back on both sides of the ball. Like you mentioned, he's got Morristown West. I think that's a winnable game. Sevier County's a winnable game. Lenoir City and Elizabeth. So I think he could potentially pick up 3 to 4 non-region wins. So if he can pull off, a couple of region wins, I think they improve upon that 3-7 record. I don't think they're going to challenge for a playoff spot again this year. Do you?
No.
All right, Lee. Well, moving on down this region, McMinn County, they were 4-6, 1-5. Got a lot of kids back. 9. Matter of fact, they got 9 kids back on both sides of the ball. Bo Cagle's Cherokee team. He's 69-60 there. They switched over from, he was running a wing tee. I think they're going to run a spread this year, according to Donovan. Bodie Patton, the offensive lineman, and then Devon Turner, defensive lineman. These are juniors, Lee. Garrett Priest is a junior as well. And I like to see that. I like to see a lot of juniors on the starting lines, offense and defense, because that bodes well for next year.
Correct. I think they may improve a little bit here, Bud, because they had 3 single-digit region losses last year. One lost by 1 to Cleveland, 3 to Ottawa, and then 7-point game to William Blount.
Yeah.
McMinn County might sneak up on some people.
I'm thinking that too, Lee.
Where do you like them at?
I think it may move into that 3rd spot, to be honest with you.
Really?
I think that shock you?
A little bit, but I think, man, you might be right.
Well, I mean,
3 or 4 spot.
You got 18 kids coming back, and the teams that finished ahead of you, you only lost by 1 to 7 points.
Right.
So logic would dictate, hey, they may leapfrog those.
That's right.
And
might be on to something.
I might be on to something, huh? So you gonna give me credit for that?
Yes, sir.
You're gonna give me the blame if I look like an idiot too, right?
Nah.
But yeah, I mean, they played Ottawa to within 3 points, and only lost to Cleveland by a point. So I think there's a strong possibility they leapfrog those teams.
Right.
Lee Heritage is a team that's really struggled. They've lost 15 games in a row. I don't know that things get any better this year. If you look at their scoring last year, they only averaged 10 points a game. Only got to double digits in 3 games.
And they only got 2 and 1 returners.
That may be a good thing with a 15-game losing streak.
That's true.
And they're young. You look at their returning players. They got a lot of juniors going to be playing this year.
Yep.
Lenoir City, Sevier County, Seymour, and Carnes are non-region games for them. You see any wins there? Do we break the streak, I guess?
I think they'll break the streak. What concerns me, man, is they got to be able to put points on the board. And when you're running the spread and you're only getting double digits 3 times last year, you might have to rethink that a little bit.
Yeah.
And try to do something a little different. Maybe didn't have the personnel for it or whatever, but
They had to go to a more ball control.
Yeah,
type
I'm not
offense.
questioning Coach Hammond-Tree. He's up there. He's the one that deals with the kids and the situation he's in. But man, where do you go?
Just looking at it from the outside, though, it kind of makes sense that something more run oriented,
right,
in the midst of a 15-game losing streak might make more sense. But like you said, we're not coaches.
That's exactly right.
All right, Mr. Teat, let's move on down to Region 3. 7 teams. There's 3 new coaches in this region, typically one of the stronger regions in the state.
Oh, yeah.
Our buddy Kevin Creasy's Oakland Patriots, I'd have to say, Lee, probably the stoutest defense I have ever seen in all the high school football I've watched last year.
Man, that was very impressive to watch. They're so physical. Buddy, I don't see anybody doing anything with them again.
Yeah, and they've dominated 7-on-7 tournaments this offseason. They only gave up a total of 17 points in 5 postseason games last year, Lee. 10 to Rossview in the second round. It's probably some mop-up duty, I'm guessing.
It was.
Shut out Maryville in the semifinals. Shut out Whitehaven in the title game. It's just incredible what they've done. And my thoughts were, going into this season, I knew that they were losing a lot on offense. Lost a 2-year starter at quarterback. Lo and behold, here comes Cody Sparks. And I talked to Brad Cowan, the AD there, earlier in the spring, and he said that kid can spin it, man. He's a kid out of Hamilton Southeastern. I you know me, I pulled up some huddle video. He's from Indiana, 6'5", 215, and he can sling it. So they're not going to be hurting any on offense.
No, and then you got 8 returners off that defense from last year.
Yes.
Maybe they may not let anybody score on them for a while.
Yeah.
Man, they got Aaron Moore.
I love that
He
kid.
has 8 offers. Jackson Riley's a preseason All-Stater. Dorian Anderson, Michael Holman, Jordan Brown, Victor Stevenson. That's a little scatty quarterback we saw. They're going to get.
They had him in the backfield some.
That's right. He's going to touch the ball some. So there's no shortage of talent on Coach Creasy's field.
De'Aaron McDonald's already committed to Ole Miss.
Ole Miss, that's correct. I forgot all about him.
Yeah.
So, man, I don't know, buddy. I think they definitely repeat in the region and probably will be challenging.
Don't give her a top 10 away.
To go to Cookville. It ain't no.
That's not a secret. It's not a secret, is it?
No, sir.
Oh, that's a good point. Now, Lee, they got Hendersonville, Kenwood, and Germantown. I think that Germantown game is kind of interesting. They traveled to Germantown. Germantown's won Region 8, which has Whitehaven in it, the last 2 years.
That's right.
So that'll be an interesting outcome, or it could potentially give you a preview of a state title game, because they've got a new coach there at Germantown, and we'll get into that in the next video. But,
right.
I like that. I don't know how they come at that game, but I guess both of them probably. I know Oakland really struggles to get non-region games. I mean, really, who wants to play them?
You know what the thing about Coach Creasy, too, is how's he keep those assistant coaches? Because he's got a ton of good coaches on his staff. I'm talking about top notch,
right.
and you would think every year, people be trying to grab them, but sometimes he retains a lot of them.
Yeah, that is definitely.
It's a testament to him.
It is.
They like to coach with him.
It's got a lot to do with that success he's had. We've talked about that with Eddie Moore and Rodney Salisbury, and a lot of the more successful, consistently successful coaches, and they all will credit the fact that they've got staff that's been with them for a long period of time. Right. So, I think that's a key to having a good competitive team year in and year out, is having, stability in your staff.
That's correct. And
they've had that. Lee, looking down that region, Blackman, the team that finished second, the Blaze kid, Hartsfield, I went over and saw those guys in a scrimmage this spring, and his squad looks really good. They got a lot of talent back. Malachi Burns transferred in from Shelbyville. He's going to help them out.
Right. Some
of the kids they lost, to graduation, he's going to help them out, I think, in the secondary, and he'll be lining up as a wideout on offense. So I think he's the number 42 recruit to state. A lot of college offers. Dijon Gibson, a follower of the Friday main event now. He's He's already got several offers, several SEC offers. He's a solid player.
Cornerback,
really good looking player. They got a lot of talent, man.
Yeah, Drew Beam's back. Off
Quarterback.
that team last year as a quarterback, and then got Quentin Hunter as a tailback. Luke Hayes is back. Connor Murphy's back. We saw him last year.
Yeah.
And then Keontae Newsome comes in from Brighton, senior wideout. So Kit, you call her Coach Hartsfield, he's got a bunch of talent out there. Be interesting.
That Newsome kid, I noticed on Huddle, he's got over 3,000 followers, so apparently he's a stud as well.
Yeah, and, Coach Hartsfield's not ducking anybody either. He's got Alcoa, Ravenwood, and Independence in his out-of-region play. That's some stiff competition to get you ready.
I think that Alcoa game's Thursday night opening week. Yeah,
that's correct.
Yeah, and Ravenwood, we'll get into Ravenwood now, but good gosh.
Yeah, no kidding.
That's eat up right there. So, yeah, you're right, man. Blackman and Oakland both. I looked at Oakland's schedule, and then I saw Blackman, and I was like, I'm going to trump you right here. That schedule's crazy, man. That's 3 teams we got in top 10. So, Lee, Riverdale finished 3rd in this region. Coach Will Kreisky, a good friend of mine and yours. I don't know. They got 5 back on offense, 6 on defense. Gaston Haney's the headliner, defensive end, senior. Taylor Yancey's back at quarterback, good-looking quarterback.
Yes, he is.
Drew Smith, good-looking running back. So they got some talent back. I think they're probably going to be competing for that 3rd spot again, though. What do you think?
I think so, too. You put Riverdale probably in any other region, they're 1 or 2.
Yeah.
Most regions.
Right.
But, man, with Blackman and Oakland and sitting there, and then, this thing about this region is it's a gauntlet. It's brutal. Your region plays brutal. Well, I don't know where does he move to? I mean, how can he move up? I mean, he's going to have to.
Well, both Oakland and Blackman beat Riverdale by more than 40 points last year, Lee. I think they had a close gap with those two. They got to close the gap with those 2 teams if they're going to ever be competitive. I think they still finished 3rd. Got a solid Cookville team. I think they'll be competing with them for that 3rd spot. Siegel, I think, might be pretty good this year. We'll talk about those 2 teams, but I look for probably a 3-team fight for that 3rd position.
Right.
Cookville, Jimmy Maynard, a good friend of yours and mine, more so you. You've known him for a long time.
Right.
His Cavalier squad got knocked out by Mount Juliet there in the 1st round. Got 5 starters back on both sides of the ball, Lee.
That's right. Coach Maynard, I think this year he's young. Stockton Owen will be his quarterback there. He's a junior. A lot of juniors on this year's team. Now, the one thing that I will say about Cookville and Coach Maynard's squads is they're always coached very well.
Mm-hmm.
Especially in this region, he doesn't have near the talent level of the Rutherford County schools, which is.
Now he's got Rockville drawing off of him.
Right. I get frustrated with that situation anyways because he drives by 3 6A schools to get to the region that he's in on the travel. When he's traveling.
Right.
So I don't really understand the region layout there, but, you got to play who you got to play. And I think his teams are very well coached, but they don't have the same talent level pool to pull from as the kids over here in Rutherford County.
I don't know why I said it. I thought I was talking about Riverdale for a minute.
Yeah.
Rockville will be drawing from Riverdale.
Right,
Sorry,
so
I got my...
I don't think he has the talent pool that the other schools have, so I think with the records that he's put up there, that's pretty good.
Yeah, I agree with you, Lee. And he's 222, 107 overall. A lot of those wins were at Smith County.
That's right.
Smith County just really hadn't been the same since he left there, but I'm sure they'd be happy to have him back if he ever decided to head back. Siegel, Lee, the Stars 3-7, 2-4. Mike Copley is 7-13 in 2 years at Siegel. Of course, he coached at Louisville Ballard there in Kentucky before coming here. I think he actually served as a defensive coordinator at Centennial at one time as well. 10 starters back on offense. I like that. I think
that's very unusual.
Yeah, it's very unusual for a 6A school to have that many starters back and 6 on defense. So Franklin, Page, and Centennial are his non-region games. So he's got a pretty stiff schedule as well. But you gotta really like the number of starters you got back.
I do too, and I like his offensive line, and also I like his quarterback Tucker Sears. They might make the playoffs, buddy.
I'm looking at them as a potential playoff team as well. The non-region games, they begin the season with Franklin Page, but Oakland's in week 3, Centennial's in week 4, and they potentially begin the season 0-4. Do you recover from that? I guess what I'm getting at is a very tough start to the season with 4 tough games. If worst case scenario you get off to 0-4, how does that weigh on them mentally?
I don't know. I think they split.
You think they split?
First 4 games. I think they're 2-2 after the first 4 weeks.
Well, I give you that they're not going to beat Oakland. I think Centennial's going to be a lot better. So where are you getting the wins at?
I think Franklin and Page. But simply because it's Page, it's a 6A school versus
a 5A.
5A. I think they might split right there.
Well, Bubba Johnson, who's a new follower to the Friday Main Event, may not agree with that reasoning there, Lee.
Well,
the new
we'll
tailback,
see how he does.
New tailback at Page. He might
the new old tailback.
The returning tailback.
Yeah.
He might.
We love you, Bubba.
We've been his biggest fan. I think that's the reason why he followed us.
I like watching him run.
Yeah, I do too. So, Lee, you think potentially a 4th spot for Siegel?
Yes, sir.
Interesting. All right. Well, I'm not going to argue with you, Lee, because I kind of think you might be right, to be honest with you, but who knows? Other teams in that region, Lee, are Coffee County and Warren County. I guess returning members of that region. We've got another team we're going to talk about here in a minute. Coffee County's under new management. Doug Green, former Coffee County assistant, returns. He's also former head coach at Ray County. Ryan Sikowski's out. Coffee County has really struggled the last 4, 5, 6, 7, 10 years. They just hadn't had a lot of success on the field. 3 starters back on offense, 4 on defense. Matthew Pittman back at quarterback. Colin Ward. I don't see them making a turn this year.
I don't either.
Franklin County, Tullahoma, and Maplewood are non-region games. Potentially, maybe get a non-region win there. I don't know. That's 3 pretty good teams. Warren County, the Pioneers, same situation. Matt Turner, new head coach. He's been a 9-year assistant there. He also serves as a wrestling head coach.
Right.
In for Tom Moore, 2-8 last year. Didn't win a region game. They do have 8 starters back on each side of the ball.
Yeah, just like you said, though, it's just in this region, where do you go?
Right. I
mean, where do you go?
I don't see any spot for them to move up, Lee.
I don't either.
Now, this last team here kind of intrigues me a little bit.
Me too, buddy. Me too.
Rockville Rockets, a new team to Class 6A, new school, new field, new coach, Rick Rice. Very storied history there at Wayne County. He's 206 and 118 overall, 176 and 77 at Wayne County. Donovan says they're going to be running the spread option. I don't know him to have run the spread before. That may be interesting, but he's never had the roster size he's going to have here at Rockville.
Well, we know that he's probably pulling players due to zoning from the Riverdale area and also from
Stewart's Creek.
Well, it'll be from Riverdale, Blackman, and Eagleville.
Yeah.
But if you look at his roster right now, man, it is sophomore heavy.
Mm-hmm.
Juniors and sophomores, lots of them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of.
They may not even have a senior class. Remember, that's how Nolensville started out.
I'm very intrigued by this. One thing that put them behind is they didn't let them spring practice.
Mm.
These kids have just started practice after school let out, so they, a little bit behind the 8 ball. Coach Rice and them are. But I'll tell you what, I think in a couple years, buddy, this is going to be a perennial playoff team.
Oh, I agree. I mean,
great facility, new school.
Excellent coach.
Good area. It's a growing area over there.
And Rick Rice has put together a pretty good staff.
Yes, sir. And with all those young kids, man, in his system, a couple years from now, man, they're going to make some noise.
Jace McCormick, LaMarcus Nelson, Luke Peterson, Darrell Lynn Council, a few of the names that were turned in for the survey, Lee Teat. So, yeah, I'm kind of anxious to see how Rockville does. I don't expect them.
I don't think they do very well this year.
No, but I think they'll be competitive with Warren County and Coffee County right off the bat.
I think so, too. I think they'll compete with them because of athleticism.
And then they travel to Franklin County. Our buddy Matt McCurry said that he had a old relationship with Rick Rice from his days of coaching at Moore County.
That's right.
Was how that game came about. They got Laverne a winnable game.
4 wins.
And Clarksville a winnable game. Yeah, I can see 4 wins. I can see 4 wins, no doubt. Yeah.
That'd be pretty good.
Yeah, that's good for a startup program. Lee, let's get into Region 4. We're running a little long here in this Class 6A Part 1. We like to talk about 6A. Mount Juliet, Region 4, probably the shocker last year. I mean, most people picked them to win the region, but we didn't expect them to play Oakland as close as they did. That was the only team that challenged Oakland all year outside of that Maryville victory over Oakland early in the year. 14-7, Oakland beat them in the third round, in the quarterfinal round. But the Golden Bears, man, they knocked off Blackman also in the second round. So
I went to that.
Yeah. Trey Perry's team's pretty solid, man. I was impressed with them.
Well, Coach Perry had an outstanding year last year, but he's lost a couple kids.
To graduation and to transfer.
The
transfer killed him.
Yeah, but I still think the Delphin Doll kid that he's got, the O-line, D-lineman, he's a stud.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a very good kicking game. And his offense,
Malik Bowen, you didn't mention him.
That's right.
He's a wide receiver.
To Duke.
Yep.
And I think with Coach Perry going back to the wing tee, that's his bread and butter.
Mm-hmm.
You could see it last year.
Yeah.
Much improved, and I fully expect him probably to go ahead and take the region pretty easily, my opinion.
Reggie Grimes is a kid we were talking about, transferred out. He was the number 1 recruit in the state, 6'5", 210, transferred to Ravenwood. My understanding is that was initially denied, but I think it's been approved now, so he will be playing at Ravenwood. At least that's what we had reported to us. Stewart's Creek, Gallatin, Maplewood, Spring Hill, and Oak Ridge. Now, that game's kind of intriguing, Lee. I think we talked about that in the 5A show, but I'm anxious to see how Joe Gaddis's Oak Ridge squad does when they come over here to Mount Juliet.
Be interesting to see. But like I said, I think Coach Perry got back to what he knows and what he loves in that wing tee, and it showed up.
Right. Lee, looking on down that region, Hendersonville, and I thought James Beasley did an excellent job in his first year taking over for Coach Hatfield as he retired 8-4 in that first year, 4-1 in region play. They beat Lebanon 26-22 to claim that second place spot.
Right.
I like the Commandos. I think they're going to be tough again this year, even though they don't have a lot of kids coming back.
Yeah, they're a tough out, but Hendersonville is a tough out anytime because they a very physical team as well.
Mm-hmm.
Coach Hatfield established that for a long time, and I think Coach Beasley's continuing on with that. I like Isaiah Chandler and Logan Spurrier, and then they got Brent Rowe. That's 3 DB tailback type kids,
athletes
that can flat get it, and he's got a pretty good offensive line. I would fully expect them to continue with the trend they had last year.
Lebanon, your buddy Chuck Gentry, his Devil squad, 8-3, 3-2, and that's the best finish Lebanon's seen in a long time, Lee. I know the folks over there in Wilson County are tickled to death with Chuck Gentry as their head coach.
Right.
They got knocked out by Blackman in that first round, but the fact that they finished with 8 wins speaks volumes for how far he's taken that program in the 2 years he's had them.
That's right. You know, I know they got boat raced in the first round last year over at Blackman.
Mm-hmm.
Field conditions wasn't that great. I went to the ball game. But that was the first time any of those kids that saw playoff action. A little different environment for them. I think they'll learn something from it.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that concerns me this year for Coach Gentry, though, is, Kreit's not there and Zion Logue. He lost Zion Logue, who was committed to Georgia.
Right.
Went to Georgia, and then he lost Chandler Kreit, who was a really good athlete that played quarterback.
Right.
So I don't know that he has a replacement established at the quarterback spot right now. I would expect Breeze Copus, another really good athlete, probably to be at the quarterback spot, but little concern for Coach Gentry because Coach Gentry's offenses are quarterback driven. You got to be a very high IQ to run his offense. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there.
Yeah, they got Gallatin, McGavick, Laverne, a winnable game, Beach, and Stewart's Creek as their non-region games.
Pretty tough. That's pretty tough.
Pretty tough non-region, no doubt. Lee, looking at the fourth-place team last year was Rossview, the Hawks, led by Todd Hood. He's 59 and 41 overall, 12 and 10 his 2 years at Rossview. Finished 6 and 5. They had every team in there. All four teams that went to the playoffs finished above 500.
Right.
49-10 lost to Oakland in the first round. Matter of fact, that 10 points I think was may have been the only. I just quoted that a while ago. What did I say? I don't even remember. I know they were the only ones that scored double digits on Oakland in the playoffs. So. That may have been mop-up duty. I'm not sure. I would assume it was. But Jackson Brown, the offensive lineman, Kareem Montague. I'm sorry.
Yep.
I'm glad I got you here. I'm the worst reader in the history of time. You kept a mama from getting on me right there.
You know what I like about Rossview this year?
What's that?
Yeah, 4 out of their 5 region games are at home.
That's kind of unusual. Does that mean that a lot of the region games are on the road? Possibly. if they got 5, yeah, that may be.
4 out of their 5 region games this year are at home, I think. So that's a good home field advantage.
Travel to Mount Juliet, I think.
Yep.
So, interesting. Yeah. Wilson Central Lee, the Wildcats. This is a team I got to see scrimmage in Shelbyville. I was really impressed with Coach Dedman's squad. 3-7 last year, 1-4 in region play. They've only got 4 starters back on both sides of the ball. Man, I was really impressed with them. I thought they looked exceptionally well. They kind of controlled the line of scrimmage against Shelbyville, which is something you always like to see. Run game looked good. The new quarterback they got coming in, I thought played well. So I like Wilson Central to maybe contend for a playoff spot this year.
Well, I think that 4 spot is wide open, buddy.
Yeah, I like them. I know they did. I know Rossview beat them out for that spot last year,
Yep.
but I like Wilson Central to take that last spot and possibly to contend for the third spot. Yeah,
very well could.
I don't know if they're ready to beat Hendersonville or Mount Juliet, but I think they'll contend with Lebanon for that third spot.
Very possible.
What do you think about that?
Very possible.
You thinking about it?
The one that sleeps, and I like Rossview as a sleeper just for the simple fact, like I said, they got a lot of home games.
Well, the last team in that region is the Bison Station Camp. Sean Hollingsworth. They haven't really done much since Josh Malone graduated, have they?
No, sir.
They're 0-5 last year, 3 starters back on offense, 2 on defense. They graduated a ton of seniors. It's another situation where you look back at the key players for last year, Lee, and it was all seniors, and they've moved on. So he's got a young squad, but like we said at the top of the show, that's not necessarily indicative of how you're going to finish.
Correct.
Because you don't have to have a lot of returning starters when you get up at the 6A level.
Be interesting to see. You think they do any better in the region?
Possibly, Lee. I mean, this region I think is I think probably you got Hendersonville, Mount Juliet here, and then you got everybody else right here. So I mean, maybe they move up to the 4th spot, but I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
All right. Well, Mr. Teat, this is we're going to go ahead and conclude our 1 through 4 coverage. Our next video will be covering regions 5 through 8 here in Class 6A. We appreciate you guys checking it out and following Lee and I. And please hit that subscribe button if you enjoy the material. We've put a lot of work into it. I don't know if it shows or not, but we're doing this. We love doing it. We intend to do it all year. We'll be having our pregame show, Lee, every week at 4:30, or every Friday at 4:30 to 6:30 on this YouTube channel. We'll be doing it live on location at various games around the state. Same thing we did last year. Went pretty well. We enjoyed it.
Heck yeah, man. We saw some good football, went through a hurricane, and got rained on.
Went to, I think the furthest game we went to was Greenville.
Greenville.
So, yeah, we travel a lot.
Yeah, had a good time.
We have a good time. So, we hope you guys have enjoyed the show. CoachT.com is our sponsor. We appreciate Jim Thompson and his bunch allowing us to do what we do and putting full support behind us.
That's right.
And, again, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and we're going to conclude this Class 6A Part 1 video. Friday main event. He's Lee Teat. I'm Mike Molder, and we'll see you guys in the next video.